The Discovery. The stellar patrol vessel Dauntless drifted silently through the shimmering boundary of the Phantom Zone, its sensors probing cautiously into the crimson mist that had claimed countless ships before it. Captain Ilara Voss stood motionless on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the main view screen as data streams flickered across secondary displays. "We're breaching protocol, Captain," First Officer Cade Mercer reminded her, his voice tight with concern. "The Phantom Zone is restricted space. If Command discovers—" "Command can court-martial me later," Ilara interrupted, her gaze unwavering. "That distress signal is human in origin. I'm not abandoning our people to whatever horrors lurk in this nebula." The Dauntless had intercepted the signal 3 days ago, faint, fragmented, but unmistakably from a human vessel. The problem was, no human ship had ever successfully entered the Phantom Zone. The mysterious region of space had claimed every expedition sent to explore it over the last century. Those few vessels that managed to transmit anything before disappearing reported catastrophic system failures, unexplainable hallucinations, and in some cases, complete molecular destabilization. Yet here they were, tracking the human distress beacon emanating from the heart of the Forbidden Zone. "Sensors are detecting a vessel approximately 2 kilometers ahead," announced Lieutenant Kira Chen from the science station. "Composition matches. Wait, that can't be right." Her fingers flew across the console. "Captain, it's registering as the Horizon." A collective gasp rippled through the bridge. The Horizon had been humanity's most ambitious deep space exploration vessel, vanishing without a trace 20 years ago during a routine survey mission nowhere near the Phantom Zone. "Impossible," whispered Mercer. "Visual confirmation," ordered Ilara. The view screen shimmered, resolving into an image that sent chills down Ilara's spine. There, suspended in the crimson void, hung the unmistakable silhouette of the Horizon, but not as she remembered it from the historical archives. The ship's hull was now covered in an intricate latticework of unfamiliar technology, gleaming with a subtle blue luminescence that pulsed like a heartbeat. "Life signs?" Ilara asked, her voice barely audible. Kira frowned at her readings. "None that I can identify as human, Captain. But there's something. Energy patterns unlike anything in our database. The ship appears to be in a dormant state," added Chief Engineer Raj Patel, studying the engineering readouts. "Minimal power readings, but that technology grafted onto the hull. It's not human. Not even close to anything we've encountered before." Ilara made her decision. "Prepare a boarding party. Full environmental suits, weapons at ready. I want to know what happened to that ship and how it ended up here." The shuttle bay of the Horizon was eerily intact, preserved as if time had forgotten this place. Ilara led her team, Mercer, Patel, and Chen, through the airlock, their helmet lights cutting through the darkness. "Atmospheric readings normal," reported Chen, surprise evident in her voice. "Gravity at Earth standard. Temperature 19 degrees Celsius." "That's not possible," Patel muttered. "This ship has been missing for 2 decades. Life support should have failed long ago." The corridors of the Horizon were pristine, too pristine. No dust, no deterioration, no signs of the passage of time. The only indications that this wasn't a newly commissioned vessel were the peculiar modifications visible throughout the ship. Crystalline structures had grown along the walls and ceiling, branching like metallic coral. Periodically, pulses of soft blue light traveled through these formations, as if the ship itself had developed a circulatory system. "What is this?" whispered Mercer, reaching out to touch one of the crystal formations. "Don't." Ilara grabbed his arm. "We have no idea what these modifications are." They made their way to the bridge, finding it transformed beyond recognition. The standard command stations had been integrated into a sweeping console that curved around a central pedestal. Atop the pedestal rested a pulsing orb of swirling energy, blues and purples dancing like a miniature nebula contained within a transparent sphere. "This technology," Patel breathed, scanning the modifications with his equipment. "It's seamless. The integration with human systems is perfect. It's as if the ship evolved. Or was evolved, Ilara corrected, approaching the central pedestal cautiously. Someone, or something, repurposed this vessel for their own use. As Ilara drew closer to the orb, its pulsing quickened, the swirling colors intensifying. Without warning, tendrils of light erupted from the sphere, enveloping her. The team shouted in alarm, weapons raised, but Ilara felt no pain, only a sudden rush of information flooding her mind. "Danger," whispered a voice inside her head. "Coming. Ancient. Hungry." The light receded as quickly as it had appeared, leaving Ilara gasping. "Captain." Mercer steadied her as she stumbled backward. "What happened? Are you all right?" I'm fine," she managed, though her mind was reeling. "It communicated with me. Not with words exactly, but I understand now. The horizon didn't drift here by accident. It was brought here. Protected." "Protected by what?" asked Chen, eyeing the orb warily. "I don't know yet," Ilara admitted. "But whatever modified this ship did so to save it. And its crew." "But there's no one here," Mercer pointed out. "Not anymore," Ilara agreed. "But they were here. And I think they left something behind." Guided by an intuition she couldn't explain, Ilara led the team to the ship's engineering section. The standard warp core had been replaced by a chamber that defied description, a space that seemed larger than the exterior dimensions of the ship should allow. At its center hung a device unlike anything human science had conceived, a series of concentric rings rotating around a core of pure energy. "It's beautiful," whispered Chen. "And impossible," added Patel. "This breaks at least 5 laws of physics that I know of." Ilara approached a console near the device. As she drew closer, it activated, displaying symbols and patterns that shifted and changed as if alive. "Can anyone make sense of this?" she asked. "It's not any language I recognize," Chen replied, studying the displays. "But there's something familiar about the patterns." The symbols suddenly coalesced into recognizable text. "QUA and TUM displacement derive TANDBY. Awaiting authorization." "How did it?" Mercer began. "It's adaptive," Ilara realized. "It's learning from us, just as we're learning from it." The ship shuddered around them, systems awakening as if from a long slumber. Lights brightened, and a humming filled the air. "Captain." Kira's voice was urgent as she checked her scanner. "Something's happening. The energy readings are spiking across the entire vessel." Before anyone could respond, the ship's communication system crackled to life. "Unidentified humans," came a voice unlike any they had heard before, layered, multitonal, as if multiple beings were speaking in perfect unison. "You have activated the Sentinel vessel. Identify yourselves." Ilara stepped forward. "This is Captain Ilara Voss of the Earth Stellar Patrol. Who am I addressing?" A pause then. "We are the Guardians. This vessel serves as our observational platform. Your presence was not anticipated at this juncture." "Guardians of what?" Ilara pressed. "What happened to the original crew of the Horizon?" Another pause. "Your questions will be answered, but there is little time. The breach approaches. This vessel must be fully activated." The ship jolted suddenly, the humming intensifying to a near-deafening pitch. "Captain," Patel shouted over the noise. "The alien technology is interfacing with the ship's original systems. Power levels are climbing exponentially. Get back to the shuttle." Ilara ordered her team. "Now." "But Captain," protested Mercer. "That's an order, Commander," Ilara snapped. "I need to understand what's happening here." As her team reluctantly retreated, Ilara turned back to the console. "What is the breach you mentioned? What are you guarding against?" The symbols on the screen shifted again, displaying an image that froze Ilara's blood. A massive tear in the fabric of space-time, darkness pouring through like a malevolent tide. "The breach is a rupture in the dimensional barrier," the Guardian voice explained. "It occurs cyclically. Your species has not existed long enough to witness a full cycle. The last occurred 30,000 years ago. And what comes through this breach? Ilara asked, though she feared she already knew the answer. Entities beyond your comprehension. They consume. They corrupt. They convert. No species has successfully repelled them alone. The image shifted to show the modified horizon, its strange additions now glowing brilliantly. This vessel was chosen because of its unique properties. Human technology possesses an adaptability that our own does not. We have enhanced it, prepared it for what comes. Ilara's comm unit crackled. Captain, Mercer's voice came through, tense with urgency. The Dauntless is detecting massive energy fluctuations throughout the Phantom Zone. Something's happening out there. As if in response, the view screen on the bridge activated, showing the crimson nebula surrounding them. Before Ilara's eyes, the mist began to part, revealing not the empty void of space, but an enormous structure, a vast ring-shaped installation that dwarfed both the horizon and the Dauntless. The Phantom Zone, Ilara realized. It's not a natural phenomenon. It's a cloak, a disguise, a necessary deception. The Guardian voice confirmed. Your species was not ready for the truth. Few are, until necessity demands it. The ring structure pulsed with energy, and countless smaller vessels emerged from hidden docks along its circumference. They surrounded the horizon in a protective formation. Captain Voss, the voice continued, we have monitored humanity for centuries. Your ship found the horizon because we allowed it. The time for isolation has ended. The breach will open within your solar system in 30 of your days. We require your assistance. Why us? Ilara asked. You clearly possess technology far beyond our own. Because humanity possesses something we do not, something that may be the key to finally ending the cycle. The console displayed a new image, a human brain, highlighted with patterns of neural activity, unlike anything Ilara had seen. Your species can dream, the Guardian explained. You imagine possibilities that have no basis in experienced reality. This trait, this defiance of the actual in favor of the potential, is unique among sentient species we have encountered. It may be our salvation. As the Guardian spoke, the horizon continued its awakening, systems coming online with increasing speed. Ilara felt the deck vibrate beneath her feet as the mysterious drive at the heart of the ship powered up, preparing for an unknown purpose. Captain, Mercer's voice came through her comm again. We're back aboard the Dauntless. You need to return immediately. These alien vessels, they're surrounding both ships now. Ilara understood then that she stood at a pivotal moment in human history. The decision she made now would alter the course of her species forever. I need to inform Earth Command, she told the Guardian. If what you're saying is true, we need to prepare. There is no time for your hierarchical decision processes, the Guardian replied. The breach has already begun its formation. This vessel must be activated now, with a human consciousness to guide it. You mean me, Ilara realized. Your neural patterns are compatible. The implications were clear. Ilara would need to stay aboard the horizon, become part of whatever the Guardians had transformed it into. If I agree to this, she said slowly, I want your word that my crew will be allowed to return to Earth, to warn our people. They will be escorted safely. But understand, Captain Voss, once the process begins, there is no reversal. You will be transformed, as this vessel has been transformed. Ilara took a deep breath, looking around at the bridge of the horizon. A human achievement now melded with something far beyond human understanding. Show me, she said finally. Show me what I'm fighting for. The view screen shifted again, displaying images of countless worlds, countless species, all facing destruction as the breach opened in their systems. And then, a vision of Earth, its continents recognizable but altered by the passage of time, its cities shining like jewels against the darkness. This is what will be lost, the Guardian said, if the breach is not sealed. Ilara activated her comm one last time. Commander Mercer, return to Earth. Tell them everything. Tell them. She paused, searching for words adequate to the moment. Tell them humanity is not alone, and we have a role to play in something greater than ourselves. Before Mercer could protest, Ilara shut off the comm and turned to the console. I'm ready, she told the Guardian. The central pedestal on the bridge began to glow, the Ord's light expanding to envelop Ilara once more. This time, she stepped willingly into its embrace, feeling her consciousness expanding as the ship's systems merged with her mind. In that moment, Ilara Voss ceased to be merely human. As the horizon powered up around her, its impossible drive engaging, she became something new, a bridge between humanity and the Guardians, the first of her kind to comprehend the true nature of the cosmos and the ancient threat that had shaped the development of countless civilizations. The horizon vanished from the Phantom Zone in a burst of light, leaving the Dauntless surrounded by the Guardian fleet. Their mission had just begun. The revelation. Commander Cade Mercer stood rigid before the United Earth Defense Council, the weight of responsibility pressing down on his shoulders. The Dauntless had returned to Earth orbit under escort by vessels unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. Sleek, crystalline ships that defied conventional physics. Now, in the vaulted chamber of humanity's highest governing body, he struggled to make them understand the magnitude of what was coming. Captain Voss remained aboard the horizon, Mercer explained, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. According to these Guardians, the ship has been specifically modified to combat a threat they call the Breach, a dimensional rupture that threatens not just Earth, but countless civilizations across the galaxy. Admiral Helena Zhao, head of the Defense Council, leaned forward, her weathered face betraying none of her thoughts. And we're supposed to simply accept this. That an ancient alien species has been monitoring us for centuries, abducted one of our ships decades ago, and now suddenly needs our help to save the universe. The Admiral's skepticism reflected the mood of the entire council chamber. Behind them, through the panoramic windows, the Guardian vessels could be seen holding position in high orbit, their presence an undeniable reality even as the council struggled to accept the implications. I understand your concerns, Admiral, Mercer replied. But I've seen the evidence firsthand. The modifications to the horizon aren't the result of human ingenuity. They are beyond anything we could conceive, let alone construct. And Captain Voss, he paused, recalling the eerie calm in Ilara's voice during their final communication. She believed them, enough to sacrifice herself for whatever comes next. Dr. Sanvi Kapoor, the Council's chief scientist, activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. Commander, our analysis of the data you brought back is, well, troubling would be an understatement. These energy readings from the Phantom Zone, they defy our understanding of physics. And these biological scans of Captain Voss during her communication with the alien technology. The display showed Ilara's neural patterns, lighting up in impossible configurations. Her brain was processing information at rates we wouldn't have thought possible in a human subject. Because she wasn't entirely human anymore, Mercer said quietly. At least, not by the end. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Admiral Zhao raised a hand for silence. Commander, you mentioned a time frame. 30 days until this breach opens. That's what the Guardians claimed, Mercer confirmed. And our long-range sensors are already detecting anomalies in the Kuiper belt consistent with their description. Something is happening out there. Something big. The chamber doors slid open, and a Guardian representative entered, the first to set foot on Earth soil. Its form was vaguely humanoid but composed of shifting patterns of light contained within a translucent exoskeleton. The council members recoiled instinctively, hands moving to weapons that would be useless against such a being. Your caution is understandable, the Guardian spoke, its multi-layered voice filling the chamber without seeming to emanate from any specific point. But time grows short. We must establish understanding quickly. Admiral Zhao stood, her composure maintained despite the alien presence. Then understand this. Earth does not surrender its sovereignty easily. Your ship's in our orbit, Your talk of ancient threats. These are claims that require more than words. We offer more than words, the Guardian replied. A sphere of light materialized above its outstretched hand, expanding to fill the center of the chamber. Within it appeared a vision, the horizon, now transformed even further, approaching a massive structure orbiting Neptune. The Sentinel vessel approaches the anchor point. From there, it will be able to monitor the breach formation directly. The sphere's image shifted to show Captain Ilara Voss. She stood on the bridge of the horizon, but her appearance had changed. Subtle illumination traced patterns beneath her skin, and her eyes gleamed with an inner light that was distinctly not human. Ilara, Mercer whispered, shocked by the transformation. I am still myself, Cade. Ilara's voice came through clearly, though her lips didn't move in perfect synchronization with the words, as if the concept of verbal communication was becoming foreign to her. But I am also more. The Guardians have shown me the truth, and it is both wonderful and terrible. The holographic sphere expanded again, this time displaying a vast cosmic tapestry, countless worlds connected by threads of light, civilizations rising and falling across incomprehensible spans of time. The breach is not merely a physical phenomenon, Ilara explained. It is a wound in reality itself, created eons ago during a conflict between beings that existed before matter as we understand it. What comes through the breach are not invaders in the conventional sense. They are antibodies of a sort, attempting to heal our reality by converting it to match their own. The image shifted to show previous breach events. Worlds transformed, their very molecular structure altered into something alien and incomprehensible. Billions of lives not ended, but changed into something that could no longer be called life as humans understood it. The Guardians have fought this battle across countless cycles, Ilara continued. They've developed technology to detect the breaches, to temporarily seal them, but never permanently. Something fundamental is missing from their approach. And they believe humans have this missing element. Dr. Kapoor asked, fascinated despite her fear. Not humans specifically, Ilara corrected, but a trait that appears strongly in humanity, imagination. The capacity to conceptualize that which has never existed and bring it into being. The Guardian stepped forward. Your species' thought processes are unexpected. You create fiction, elaborate falsehoods that serve no immediate survival purpose. You imagine alternatives to reality, then work to make them manifest. This cognitive pattern is rare among sentient beings. Admiral Zhao's expression remained skeptical. And how exactly does our talent for daydreaming help against this cosmic threat? The entities that emerge from the breach cannot comprehend conceptual leaps, explained the Guardian. They follow patterns, rules, logic chains. When confronted with the unexpected, with that which should not be possible according to established parameters, they falter. Creativity as a weapon, murmured Dr. Kapoor. Imagination as a shield. Mercer turned to Ilara's holographic presence. What exactly are you asking of us, Captain? The horizon has been modified to function as a focal point, Ilara explained. A nexus where the power of human imagination can be amplified and directed. But I cannot do this alone. I need others, dreamers, creators, those whose minds naturally break from established patterns. You're talking about some kind of psychic conscription, Admiral Zhao said flatly. I'm talking about volunteers, Ilara countered. People willing to temporarily join their consciousness with the network we're establishing. Their physical bodies will remain on Earth, safe. Only their minds will join with the horizon. The Guardian stepped into the center of the holographic display. We have encountered 17,842 sentient species across the galaxy. None have successfully repelled a breach alone. But together, combining Guardian technology with human cognitive flexibility, we may achieve what has never been done, a permanent seal. Dr. Kapoor's eyes widened as she grasped the implications. If what you're saying is true, this isn't just about saving Earth. This is about changing the fundamental nature of reality itself. Yes, the Guardian confirmed simply. Admiral Zhao looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of each council member in turn. The weight of the decision before them was palpable. Trust these alien beings or face the breach alone. Neither option offered certainty. "We will need proof," she said finally. "Tangible evidence that what you're proposing is possible, and that it won't simply leave humanity vulnerable to another form of attack." "Your caution is wise," the Guardian acknowledged. "We offer this." The holographic sphere contracted, focusing now on a single human figure, a young woman in a simple white medical gown, her face serene despite the alien technology surrounding her. "Julia Chen," Mercer breathed, recognizing the Dauntless's science officer. She stayed behind. Lieutenant Chen volunteered to remain with the Guardian Research Unit, Ilara explained, to serve as a test subject for the neural interface. Watch. In the hologram, Julia sat cross-legged in the center of a circular chamber. As the interface activated, her expression changed from concentration to wonder. Around her, the very air seemed to shimmer and solidify, taking on shapes and forms that shifted with her thoughts. Fantastic creatures, impossible architectures, visions of other worlds. Lieutenant Chen is currently projecting mental constructs into quasi-physical form, the Guardian explained, a simplified version of what the breach entities will encounter, concepts that exist outside their experiential framework. The Council watched, mesmerized, as Julia's thoughts took increasingly complex and beautiful forms around her. Her face shone with joy at the pure creative power now at her disposal. "The neural interface amplifies natural human ability," Ilara continued. "It doesn't control or direct. It enables. What you're seeing is the untapped potential that exists in every human mind." "And against the breach," Admiral Zhao pressed. "How does this defend us?" The hologram shifted again, showing a simulation of the breach, a yawning tear in the fabric of space-time, darkness pouring through. As entities began to emerge, shifting, geometric forms that hurt the eyes to look upon, they encountered a barrier unlike any physical shield. It was a kaleidoscope of human thought, constantly changing, adapting, incorporating new elements that defied prediction. The entities recoiled, unable to process the chaotic creativity confronting them. Where they touched the barrier, they seemed to dissolve, their rigid structures unable to maintain cohesion in the face of such conceptual flexibility. "This is merely a simulation," the Guardian cautioned. "The actual breach will be far more powerful, the entities far more numerous. We will need hundreds, perhaps thousands of human minds joined in the effort." "And afterward?" Mercer asked the question that hung in everyone's thoughts. What happens to these volunteers once the breach is sealed, if it can be sealed? "They return," Ilara said simply. "Changed, perhaps as I am changed, but still human, still themselves." Admiral Zhao studied the hologram for a long moment, her military mind calculating risks and possibilities. Finally, she turned to the Council. "We need to verify everything we've been shown. Deploy our best scientific teams to work with these Guardians, and I want direct communication with Captain Voss, regular updates on her condition, and the status of the horizon." "Agreed," the Guardian said. "Time is short, but trust must be established." Over the following days, Earth scientists worked alongside Guardian researchers, confirming what they had been told and developing protocols for the volunteer interface program. Initial tests with a small group of volunteers, artists, writers, musicians, and surprisingly, children, demonstrated the potential of the approach. Their combined mental energies, channeled through Guardian technology, created defensive patterns of extraordinary complexity and beauty. 20 days before the predicted breach event, the Horizon returned to Earth orbit. The ship had changed even further, its hull now a seamless blend of human design and Guardian technology. It pulsed with life, its very structure seeming to breathe and shift as it maintained station above the planet. Commander Mercer received permission to board, to see firsthand what had become of his captain and friend. The shuttle journey to the Horizon was silent, his mind wrestling with the implications of what humanity now faced. When he stepped onto the bridge, he found it transformed beyond recognition. No longer a confined space, but an open chamber that seemed to extend impossibly in all directions. At its center stood Ilara Voss. Cade. She greeted him, her voice simultaneously in his ears and inside his mind. "I'm glad you came." Mercer approached cautiously. Up close, the changes in Ilara were even more pronounced. Her skin luminescent, her eyes containing depths that seemed to stretch to infinity. Yet her smile was the same, her posture recognizable as the woman who had commanded the Dauntless with such confidence. "Is it really you?" he asked quietly. "Yes and no," she answered honestly. "I retain all that I was, but I've gained perspective. I see patterns now, connections I never imagined existed." She gestured around them at the transformed bridge. "This vessel has become more than a ship, Cade. It's a nexus point, a place where minds can join without losing their individual essence." "The Council has approved the volunteer program," Mercer informed her. "Over 10,000 people have already stepped forward. Training begins tomorrow." Ilara nodded. "It will be enough, if they can learn quickly. The breach grows stronger by the day." "And after?" Mercer pressed. "What happens to Earth, to humanity, once this crisis has passed? Do we go back to being alone in the universe, or has everything changed forever?" Ilara's expression softened. "Everything has already changed, Cade. The isolation of Earth was never meant to be permanent, merely a protective measure until humanity was ready. The Guardians have watched over countless developing civilizations, guiding when necessary, but always with the understanding that each species must find its own path. And our path leads to this, becoming part of some galactic coalition. If we choose it," Ilara confirmed, "the Guardians do not force. They offer." "And what do you choose, Ilara?" Mercer asked, the question that had been haunting him since her transformation. "When this is over, do you come home?" Ilara was silent for a moment, her gaze distant, as if seeing across vast stretches of space and time. "Home," she repeated finally. "I'm not sure what that means anymore. But I know this. Humanity's future is brighter than I ever imagined possible. We are not alone, Cade. We never were." In the days that followed, the volunteer interface program expanded rapidly. Temporary facilities were established around the globe, each connecting to the horizon through quantum entanglement. Volunteers entered meditative states, their consciousness extending beyond their physical bodies to join the growing network centered on the modified ship. Each brought their unique perspective, their particular form of creativity. Artists contributed visions of impossible beauty. Engineers offered structured innovation. Children brought pure imagination, unfettered by assumptions about what could or couldn't exist. Together, they began to form something greater than the sum of its parts, a collective consciousness that maintained individual identity while achieving unprecedented unity of purpose. And as the predicted time of the breach approached, that unified purpose focused on a single point in space, a growing distortion near the orbit of Neptune, where reality itself was beginning to fray. On the horizon, Ilara stood at the center of the confluence, channeling the mental energy of thousands. The Guardian fleet had taken position in a protective formation around Earth, their ancient technology ready to support humanity's untested approach. "The breach has begun," announced the Guardian representative, now permanently stationed on the horizon. "In 17 minutes, it will achieve critical expansion." On Earth, in the Defense Council chamber, Admiral Zhao and Commander Mercer watched the live feed from deep space probes. The distortion was visible now even to conventional sensors, a writhing tear in the fabric of spacetime, darkness filling through like ink in water. "All volunteers are connected," reported Dr. Kapoor from her station. "Neural synchronization at 93% and holding." On screens around the chamber, they could see the volunteer centers, rooms filled with people sitting in meditative poses, their faces serene despite the tension of the moment. Their combined consciousness, filtered through the horizon's unique systems, was humanity's best hope against the cosmic horror unfolding at the edge of their solar system. The breach expanded suddenly, the tear widening as if pulled apart by invisible hands. Through it came the first wave of entities, geometrically perfect yet somehow wrong, their very existence an affront to the physical laws of this universe. "Now," whispered Ilara, her voice carrying to every connected mind across the network. The combined mental energy of thousands of human minds surged forward, channeled through the horizon, and projected outward toward the breach. It manifested as a barrier unlike anything the universe had seen before, a tapestry of human creativity, constantly shifting and adapting, incorporating elements of art, science, music, and pure imagination. Where the entities encountered this barrier, they faltered. Their rigid structures, built on absolute logic and immutable laws, could not adapt to the fluid creativity confronting them. The barrier didn't just block their advance, it disrupted their very nature, introducing concepts and possibilities that their rigid consciousness could not process. In the Defense Council chamber, alarms sounded as the breach expanded further, its edges now visible to the naked eye, as a dark wound against the starry backdrop. "It's not holding," Mercer realized, watching the entities push against the human barrier. "There are too many of them." But Ilara had anticipated this. Through the network, she called for more, not just resistance, but transformation. "Don't just block them," her voice echoed in thousands of minds. "Change them. Show them what they could become." The nature of the barrier shifted, becoming not just a shield but a bridge, offering the entities glimpses of existence beyond rigid patterns, of the beauty in chaos, of the strength found in adaptability. Some recoiled, retreating back through the breach. Others, however, began to change, their perfect geometries becoming fluid, incorporeal forms, taking on aspects of human thought. "What's happening?" Admiral Zhou demanded, watching the unexpected development on the main screen. "They're evolving," Dr. Kapoor breathed in wonder. "The human network isn't just repelling them, it's offering them an alternative, a way to exist in our reality without destroying it."